We got a nice March day here in Wisconsin. Dad came out to visit me, and so we figured what better way to spend our time than to go do some stump shooting. And we've been talking about doing a video on the grip trigger, and so we thought this is the perfect time. We get to go do some stump shooting, and we get to talk about the grip trigger. We got a nice March day here in Wisconsin. Dad came out to visit me, and so we figured what better way to spend our time than to go do some stump shooting. And we've been talking about doing a video on the grip trigger, and so we thought this is the perfect time. We get to go do some stump shooting, and we get to talk about the grip trigger.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so if you don't know what a grip trigger is, it's just a little button that we put on the grip of our bow, and it makes an audible click that I can hear and I can feel with my hand, and that just works as kind of a subconscious, well, it's not subconscious.
It is subconscious. It's a subconscious release trigger.
It works as a release trigger. Yeah. That's what it is.
And we need to keep it as subconscious. You don't want to think about that click.
Correct.
And
yep.
It takes your brain 2 to 15 shots to start linking a release to that click instead of to the aim, which is primarily our problem with target panic.
Yeah, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And so a release trigger, you can visualize this easy enough with a pistol or a rifle, right? You don't want to jerk the trigger because you're going to be moving it,
because you're
going to jerk your aim off.
Yeah.
And so you want a slow trigger press so you're not moving the gun, and then you want that trigger to be a surprise break so that you don't brace for the recoil.
Bingo.
And so with the gun, it's easy. You just have a slow trigger press to a true surprise release.
Same thing with the grip trigger.
To limit your movement.
Yes, correct.
And that's what we're trying to accomplish with a grip trigger.
Exactly.
Yep. And we limit movement on the front end of the shot by solid structural foundation, right? And that's built into our structure in position.
Yeah, alignment and holding position.
And then we're trying to limit the brace or the movement after the shot by making that release as much of a surprise as we can.
Correct.
Is that a good basic way to summarize a grip trigger?
That's the basic thing. If we're trying to catch an aim, we're like, not now. Our brain knows when the shock of the bow is coming, and we'll contract some muscles that will move the bow hand.
Every time.
Maybe 1/8 of an inch. Well, that 1/8 of an inch will cause this much of a miss at 20 yards.
Yep.
And so they're unexplainable. Like, dang it, I knew that aim was perfect. Why is my arrow sitting up there high to the right 16 inches?
Everybody knows exactly how that feels.
Yes.
I sure do.
Because that movement, number one, is so small, it's almost imperceptible, but it becomes completely imperceptible because it's timed with the bow going off.
Yep.
And it answers, once you know about this thing we call linked bracing, it answers a lot of questions like, what the heck's going on? Like, I shot on that good aim.
Linked bracing is just bracing that is linked to the release of the bow.
To the shock of the bow, yes.
Okay.
To the bow going off, correct.
And that could be produced by anxiety. It could be because of the physical hit of the
Anxiety
bow.
magnifies the reaction, but that reaction's built in. It's hardwired. You will always react to pressure, shock, and impact with a muscle contraction. I
Okay.
demonstrate it with that little finger touch
Yeah, so
to my students.
one of these days we're going to entertain everybody with our back and forth about this.
Okay.
But it doesn't happen in people who are new to archery. People can get away with shooting for a year before they really have any kind of target panic manifest.
It's usually a 6 month to 2 year thing where we start trying to catch the aim.
And so if anyone's watching this, you'll know if you have target panic, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Any anxiety you're feeling, any loss of control of the string hand or elsewhere is target
so
panic.
that can show up in a couple different ways. We're going to get into the grip trigger here in just a second. That really manifested for me at full draw. Right before I would release, I would throw my hand up. And so I would aim low and then flip my hand up to try to hit the target. And that did not work. I mean, that was a terrible, terrible way to shoot. That stuck with me. I worked hard to get rid of that for 10 years with very limited success until I put a trigger on my bow.
That success came within 3 shots. Actually, the first
shot. And yes, it was amazing.
Because you told me, I'm going to be shooting way high. Right?
So how did it manifest for you?
Target panic manifested with me with complete loss of control of string hand. So once my brain associated the release with the aim, it would do that any time. I'd be pulling the bow back, and I could be anywhere in here, and the release would go off. Well, I was so intently focused on aim. That's where I put my conscious control.
In aim.
Was on aim.
Yep.
Which we were taught to do in the day.
Yep.
And then the brain goes, I got you. I see what's going on. You start off with anchor, aim, release. And then I didn't have to even think about anchor. It was aim, release, and it was aim, release, aim, release.
Yep.
And pretty soon I'd be pulling the bow back, and
it would go
the string
off
would fly
here,
off my hands.
or here, or here.
Right, because my brain saw aim, and it linked the release to the aim.
That's right.
The grip trigger, what we're going to eventually do is just link the release to the click. That's what string-mounted clickers do. That's what feather touches do. All the mechanisms of what we call a triggered release, that's what they all do.
Yep. So in short, what we're trying to do with the grip trigger is we're trying to get to an anchor, aim, and then have our conscious mind driving the release or the motion of the release.
The increasing string tension through back tension.
So our conscious mind is driving back tension?
Correct.
Okay.
At a subtle increasing rate, which then drives tension against the grip, which then depresses that little piece of stainless steel we have sandwiched between leather, which induces a click. And the brain very quickly learns to actuate a release based on that click, as opposed to the aim, like in my problem.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Which is the most common one.
You had the most common one. Yeah. I had a hard time letting go of the string.
Which is
less common.
Much less common, but happens to a lot of folks.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Okay. So with that said, I'll kind of go into how I use it. You can go into how you use it.
Yep.
And then hopefully we'll have a chance to kind of talk through all the most important parts of the grip trigger.
Yeah, explain how you use that, Tom.
Okay. All right, so actually setting up and using the grip trigger, it's important to using it effectively. I want people to use it effectively because I want people to have the same kind of success with this that I've had. So there's a couple things. The height on where you put this trigger is going to affect how quick it goes off. If you have this trigger, mine is set right here. If I put this up higher on my bow, then I'm going to be putting pressure on it earlier in my draw, and it's going to go off too soon. If I put this trigger too low on my grip, then I might not get to setting it off because I'll be sitting back here at aim and I can't put enough pressure on it. So the first thing that you need to do is find the right height, and you're just going to have to adjust it. You're going to put it on your bow, you're going to pull it back, get to anchor, and see if it goes off. And if you can't make it go off, then you need to move it higher on your grip. And if it goes off too soon, then you need to move it lower on your grip. Essentially, that's it, right?
Yeah, and those adjustments are going to be an 1/8 inch at first and maybe a 1/16 when you really dial it in.
Yep, and we put a little piece of tape on there that is meant to be adjustable, and then there's a more permanent piece of tape. But we use electrical tape in the
I
store.
do, just to make it quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could even skip the tape we put on it and just put a little piece of electrical tape off the top and bottom edge. That way you just peel it off, move it a little bit.
Okay, so assuming that you've got your grip trigger set in the right spot,
Mm-hmm.
this is how I run it.
Okay.
You give me some feedback on this.
Okay.
I always get my grip set right here, and I make sure that it goes off. I indent. I push it in a couple times so that I kind of remember like where it is, and then I'm at target. I pull my bow back to my target. My aim is set. Then all of my attention goes onto increasing tension here, driving my elbow kind of behind me, I guess is how I think of it. And then my bow hand is just relaxing. I'm not consciously pushing the heel of my hand into my bow, but I am allowing that to happen as I increase tension back here on the string. And so when those two things are working harmoniously, that trigger depresses and my release just happens right here. So that's kind of in my mind. That's what I'm thinking when I'm doing it.
Yeah. I think
and
that's
it
a
took me-
wonderful way to run it. Yeah.
It took me 20 to 30 shots to kind of, the first time I ever put it on my bow, maybe 20 to 30 shots to figure out how to run it that way. And then now, you know, if I don't shoot for 6 months, I never don't shoot for 6 months. Let's say I don't shoot for a few months. It might take me 10 or 20 shots again to just kind of get back into the rhythm of the timing. But once I've learned how to do that, and those two things work together, the tension here and the pressure here on my hand, then my shot, I mean, it's like cheating. It feels like cheating.
And the mental sequence Tommy described is just like shooting a firearm, just like shooting a compound bow. You set up a holding position, whether it's a firearm or whether it's a bow or compound or recurve, and then an aim comes in. Aim does not mean shoot, and then there's a trigger press. It's a really simple shot sequence if you'll keep it that way. So mine is highly similar to that. When we were looking at exactly where we're pressing, mine's a little lower on a hard spot than yours, but mine involves sometimes when I was first learning to do this, I would intentionally make it click by pressing that heel down into, or the
You were trying to
grip
push into it this way?
Yes, and it would be a slow movement, basically imperceptible movement, and I'd get a click that way. Well, that increased tension back here, and then I ran it some with just back tension, just press back here with my back tension, get click and to release. Now, I think the best way overall is something similar to yours, is what we call balancing our tension. So as much as you're pressing here is as much as you're pressing here, and vice versa. So now, because they're two opposing movements, I just kind of put them in one concentration. I'm pressing at the target and I'm pressing my back tension, and I just stay in that movement.
So you're pressing at the target with this hand.
Yeah.
And you're pressing your back tension.
And I'm kind of pressing right at the target.
Hold your bow out there again one time. Because you were saying pressing here and here, but I want to make sure that everyone sees.
There.
You're pressing
there
on your palm.
Yeah, on the thumb pad side of the bow.
And then you're pushing
this
here.
tension, right?
Okay.
That tension behind you, back tension. And I put those together. Well, I'm just simply looking at the aim. Subconscious maintains that just fine. And I keep pressing. If it doesn't go off right away, I like, it's coming, stay in there. And I just keep pressing, click, boom.
Yep.
And when that happens, it's magic.
And that gives us a surprise release as much as we can recreate that with the bow.
Correct, because that release is generated at the subconscious level.
Yep, because we don't
just
know.
like it did with the aim. The brain can't time it for a muscle contraction.
Yep.
A bracing effect.
Yep. Okay, so that's in short how we both use it. Are there any common problems that you run into? Because I get a lot of emails with guys trying to figure out how to use this. What are some of the most common issues that guys have using a grip trigger?
Okay, first of all is improper grip, or not replicating their grip.
Okay.
Sometimes they're creating torque and they'll rip grip triggers apart. And you know, I'm going to give them a quick lesson on proper grip and how to use proper grip.
Because it's separating the laminated pieces.
They've literally got torsion like going this way, and they smear this thing off the bow. I mean, tear them apart. There's so much pressure, especially if it's a heavy hunting bow. Well, I'm going to get with that guy, and I'm going to give him a lot of information on proper grip and how that's exposing a problem in the shot, and it truly is a problem.
Okay.
Torque, or any motion that's not linear, any force that's not linear to the bow creates inaccuracy. So anything
Can that happen with a sloped grip sometimes too?
Yes, the grips that slope away, your hand always wants to slide off.
So there
So
are
sometimes
some
it's the bow
bows
that
that
it
are
won't
hard
work on.
that are hard to use a grip trigger
Right.
with.
But to finish up with that guy, I'm going to give him a quick lesson on grip, and we're going to send him a new one at our cost, because we want a guy to have success with this tool, right? So replicating his grip, and so let's go to the bow like you just mentioned. That grip needs to be flat. If it's convex, if it's sloped outward, it takes up the room of that little stainless steel piece, and it can't deflect or bend enough to click. And so it's got to be a flat grip. It could be a concave grip. It's going to click just fine and really easy. But grips that slope away are not conducive to proper grip. I'm sorry if your bow does that. I would have my bow reconfigured and flattened on the back. So any grip that's like configured for a proper grip, which is most of them today, the grip trigger will work on. Some of the older bows or some of those ones with humps and rounded portions, don't get one for that bow.
Well, it's hard to replicate a good proper grip with those kinds of handles anyways.
Correct.
Yep. And you'll have real hard time using the grip trigger with those shaped grips.
Yeah, or it's
unfortunately
virtually impossible, unfortunately.
All right. So setting that aside, what are some of the biggest issues that guys have learning how to run the grip trigger well?
Okay. So someone will get discouraged right at the start because they'll have inaccurate shots. The thing clicks. You got to remember, when you're first using it, all the reactions to the click are conscious, like click, ha, and they let go. Well, then the brain, because it's like a now moment, is going to contract muscles, and you're going to have the same effect of trying to catch an aim. But what they don't know is they'll just hang in there. It usually takes between 2 and 15 shots or so just to think about the tension that makes the click. Once that happens and the brain learns, oh, this is what you want, just like the brain attached the release to the aim for the guys at snap shoot, the brain will attach the release to the click. And like I said, it's usually 2 to 15 shots. Once that happens, that arrow is going to go right where it's aimed. So they give up a little too quick.
Okay.
Because they're reacting consciously to the click. Click, let go. Now, you got to do that at first.
Yep.
But then the brain learns what its job is. And 10 shots later, click, boom. And you'll hear the timing change. It'll go click, release to click, release. Because subconscious reactions are faster.
So part of it is just kind of learning how...
Let the brain learn it.
Let the brain learn it, so it's just time.
Just let the brain learn its job.
Okay.
Right.
Anybody running into issues getting the tension between your bow hand and your string hand, getting those to work in harmony with each other?
I would say usually they'll figure it out if they'll stick with it.
Okay.
Most of the time they give up a little too quickly. It probably took me 2 weeks to get this version running exactly the way I like it, knowing right where it goes off, right the way it's supposed to be, within timing. Now, one move. I put this one on here just last week.
Because
took me
now
one
you know
move.
exactly what
I
you're
know
trying
right
to
where
do.
it needs to be.
Okay.
I know just how much tension when I'm drawing it takes to make it go off or not let it go off.
Okay.
And it's super easy.
Well, let's go shoot some stumps and talk through this a little bit more.
Yeah.
While we're shooting.
I like it.
Cool.
Okay, Tommy, there's one bright leaf that I'm going to be shooting at.
Okay.
You may not see it, but I'll know. But it's got some little brush. I'm shooting in the brush, kind of replicative of a hunting shot, right?
I think I see what you're looking at.
Yeah. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get that button right. So I use that little felt button. I'm going to get it right there, right where I know it's in the perfect spot. My lifeline will be lined with that left side of the grip. Boom. So I'm replicating my grip. So I'm going to go down here. All right. Oop, look at that. Shade left a little bit. Come in here and build my holding position in the range of movement. There's a perfect aim. Now I'll start pressing towards the target. Ooh, it clicked and I hit that damn leaf.
You hit it?
Yes.
Cool.
So as I was talking, that grip trigger clicked and the shot went off in the middle of me talking myself through the tension. It acted exactly as intended.
Well, I don't see a leaf, but I see your feathers.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can bust your arrow.
Do it. We get them wholesale.
That's right. I hope I got that film. I tried to hold it up high, but this might have gotten in the way. All right, so to talk through
nice
this.
White feathers at about, I don't know, 27, 28 yards probably.
Yeah, I bet somewhere in there. All right, so just to kind of talk through this, here's what I do. I'll get my string, fingers on the string, get my grip set. I'm gonna make sure that I can feel it. Yep, it's right there, and that just kind of gives me a kind of last check, so I know exactly where it's gonna click. Then I'm gonna come up here into aim. I'm gonna get it to anchor, increase tension, and then as soon as that grip trigger activates, then I'm shooting. That arrow might be hard to find.
We're on a ridge. Did it skip over the ridge?
Yeah, I went over your arrow by, I don't know, maybe that much.
Well, that's some dang
I
fine
think
shooting.
I killed a deer.
Absolutely.
If it was deer.
Nice.
I should have aimed a little lower. All right, well, when we're stump shooting, we kind of take turns picking targets. So Dad picked the last one. I'm gonna walk until I see something fun to shoot at. Okay, this is gonna be a much closer shot. There's a brown leaf that's sticking out right through there. It's maybe 17 yards away.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the things I didn't mention last time, in the last episode that we filmed, you talked about when you're driving a car, you're keeping your eyes on the road,
Yep.
and you're making all these imperceptible movements as you're driving. You're speeding up, you're slowing down, you're turning left, right, all these imperceptible movements while you're having a deep conversation with your passenger.
Mm-hmm.
That analogy made sense to me.
For aiming.
That's
yes.
what my aim is. So I didn't mention this before, but I'll mention this now. Once I've got my aim pretty much set, I'm just looking at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All conscious thought and attention goes into tension on the string, increasing
Bingo,
tension
baby.
on the string.
Yeah, buddy.
And I think that that's a huge point in running a grip trigger well.
Yeah,
is
running
making
any
sure.
shot well. But that's a beautiful point you just made and well said.
All right, I pretty much hit my leaf, but I know my tension wasn't good because my hand really came out when I shot.
Yeah, so it was just a direction of tension issue and you'll run the next one better. But it was accurate.
It was
It was
accurate.
highly accurate. I'll
Yep.
shoot the same leaf. I see
Cool.
which one you're shooting at now.
And please make those form corrections as we're shooting, because
Yeah.
I don't have model form.
Yeah, so direction this way, like your first shot kind of broke this way a little bit. So be sure and press everything back behind you.
Okay.
Whew, baby, that
Did you
was.
smoke it?
Oh yeah. Now that one, the grip trigger gave me such a calm state of mind that I'm where I need to be. It didn't click, but I decided, I made a conscious decision just to increase that pressure through the string. So it served its purpose, and I'm kind of more advanced with its use, so I can kind of do that kind of thing. But the grip trigger got mentally exactly where I wanted to be. I do believe that's the brown leaf we were shooting
That's
at
the one.
with my arrow.
Yours
right
is
through.
better.
But I think these both killed a deer.
Yeah.
But got to have a little bragging rights once in a while. Oh, buddy, this is a tough one, but I got to know.
Are you gonna
So-
shoot that dark stump down there?
I am way in the hell down there.
Putting the stump in stump shooting.
It's yeah.
How far is that? 30?
Oh,
35?
I'm thinking 35.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
it's through a tunnel and there's all kinds of snaggy stuff. I think I'm gonna have to get low to get it through this tunnel. So I'm gonna kind of squat down here. Kneeling is gonna be too far down. I think I see a path, buddy. We might lose an arrow, but I don't care. This is too fun. Oh, that's a little further than I thought.
Yeah, a little low.
Point on is 35, and that one hit about 3 or 4 yards shy.
You want to do it again?
I do.
You got to.
Good line though. I'm happy with the shot. Clicker clicked. It's just about a yard, 2 yards past the first one.
Yep.
That's a tough shot.
All right. I've had the benefit of watching your arrow.
That's a poke, buddy. Attention behind you.
Oh, I had the distance down,
Did you?
but I was to the left a little bit and it deflected off a branch.
Nice.
So my feathers are right on it.
They are.
All right, I'm shooting again.
Your shots were, that was a lot better than mine.
All right, I'm struggling with plucking my hand a little bit.
Yeah, just got to press
It's kind of
behind
out of
you a little more.
practice.
Yeah. We can work on that a little bit later. Beautiful. Oh, to the right
had
that
it.
time. That was
Had it.
perfect
Just
elevation.
nicked
at
that little branch.
35 yards or wherever the heck that is. Nice shooting, bud.
Cool. I think I nicked the same branch both times.
Trail.
Yep.
There's a big shadow, and then there's a smaller one right on the left side of the water.
Yep. I see it.
The biggest dark spot right in the middle of the biggest dark spot.
Center punched it.
2 inches low. So that time, you know, just talk about the grip trigger. It wasn't going, but I wasn't in that calmness. I'm waiting. I say, it's coming. I just stayed in there, and it broke, and it was a good shot.
Yep.
Nice.
That's really what you're looking for, right?
That's exactly what I'm looking for. Might have punched out. Might have tried to catch that aim. Otherwise.
We can cut that out, right?
No. little to the right,
A
Tommy.
little bit.
Just a little outside. Good elevation though.
And I got the next shot right here. All right, there's the widest leaf to the left of the trail up there.
I see it.
Yep. Just a touch high.
Cool. And popped out a little bit. So what's going on with your shot is you got a little bit too much of this,
Yes.
or your brain is capable of giving you like 80% here, 20% there. You got a little of this going too.
I can feel that.
Yeah.
That's my biggest struggle anyways.
Yeah. That's something that's easily tightened up though. Maybe,
hit it?
maybe an inch high. See me almost like anticipate
Yeah,
it and
I did.
caught a little flinch. There's the link brace. But nope, caught it and then just settled back into pressure. Grip trigger pop, boom.
Did you
Perfect
anticipate
line.
it too much?
No, I think
What
my
happens with
brain,
that?
literally, I think it was my brain like, this is about when it goes off. And you got to see the link brace. You
Okay,
got to
so it
see
was
how your body
anticipated a
reacts to the
little
bow. And so I, whoop, no, just settle in, pop, boom. It was that high from what I was looking at.
Nice.
First biggest green clump.
To the right of the tree, the tall
To
tree.
the right of that tree,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
It's that first biggest green one, and might be a little out of my range, really. It's definitely over 40. It's definitely a holdover for me, but it's just fun to launch them. Ooh, a yard short or so.
Just barely short.
Yeah,
I can't
we do
quite see
enough
it.
of those, we'll start dialing them in,
Yep.
you know. Let's take a picture. That wasn't hardly any miss at all for you.
No, it was a lot closer than I thought.
Yeah, look, because, yeah, like I said, I'm more than a yard short, although on elevation not that much, but you were shooting here, and at 40-some yards you were here. That's pretty
Yeah.
good shooting there,
Did
bud.
you step it off?
I didn't.
What'd you get?
I didn't step it.
Oh.
Kind of got to, though, now. Let me do that real quick.
It was probably 45.
Yeah, 45-ish. Short again.
That sun is bright.
Got to work on my distance a little bit. Forgot to count that last one off. We'll see what this one is.
I don't see what you're shooting at. Are those your feathers in the middle of the road?
No. My arrow's up to the right to the dirt cloud we were out shooting at.
All right. There's a corn stalk that's kind of going up at a 30
Yeah,
degree
look to
angle.
the right of that. There's that dark cloud dark spot I was shooting at. Oh, that's
really close.
Perfect elevation, about 5-6 inches left.
Got the lefts a little bit today.
I got 37.
Okay.
And my stepper's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah, that bright spot is begging to be shot at.
It is. It's about the same distance, so I'm kind of like wanting to tile into these longer shots. Got the lows again.
Low?
Yeah. Yeah, just not dialed in these long shots.
Trying to get your elbow in the frame.
Okay. Make sure I'm running my direction of tension well. Ooh, baby, that was pretty good.
Really close.
Yeah. That's a big holdover for me right now.
Is it really?
I lighten these limbs a little bit.
That is not point on for me.
That was a almost 2-foot holdover for me.
Huh.
With these, I dialed these limbs back.
I'll have the top of my, I'll put the top of my point about on your feathers at this distance.
So just a slight gap for you, probably. Good line.
I was looking at the top of your feathers and I just about hit them.
Yeah.
You see it way up there?
I see it. I don't know if the camera does. Oh, nice. Oh, good. We're running to that ridge we were just on now.
Short?
Yeah, my hand is covering up the spot I was shooting at.
All right, let's get closer.
That's a little bit too far.
Oh,
perfect line, about a foot low.
It was?
Before it, yeah.
Oh, when I looked up, it looked great.
Yeah, perfect line. Just hit the ground about that far in front of it.
Okay.
So one thing you could focus on is just pressing that tension and think of that follow-through position over your shoulder.
Okay. All right, since I didn't get your shot, I might as well get you pulling your arrow out of the center of that bush.
About 35-yard shot, crying out loud. This one wasn't too bad. That's pretty good, Tommy. Tommy, how much have we done this walking back to camp on an elk hunt?
Oh, every single day.
It's
one of the great joys.
How many thousands of arrows you think we've shot?
One of the great joys of traditional archery is stump shooting.
Yeah.
Nice, take another one.
Shooting off the click every time now, for sure. Just to drill that in. Boom, boom. Those arrows are right together.
Nice.
Jump the trigger.
Well, it was really quiet. Might have to look for that arrow.
Duh. Oh, it's hitting that grass. I was like, what the heck is going on here? There it is. Bam. See that cattail sticking out in the trail?
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Let's zoom in on that. If I can hit that thing, it would be epic. Right? It would be epic if I can nail that.
All right, I'm gonna zoom in on the cattail when you shoot them. Oh, it ticked it.
Bam, baby.
That was pretty cool. Not really a better way to spend an afternoon.
Buddy, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Take a look at some possible deer spot for you.